What are you growing in your garden?
How was that meal from the chef?
Oh my God. Oh man. It was so good.
What did he make you?
Like a pesto focaccia pizza.
It was so good.
It was unreal.
You got any pests in that garden?
I'm so hungry. That was so...
I really just want to know all about the garden.
Hey, welcome to Tip and Tell, baby. A casual conversation with professional artists. I'm your host, Sid Williams.
I'm also going to be eating breakfast because I haven't eaten yet today. So
And it's going to be gross. You're going to hear Sloppy Joe eating.
I'm going to do it to the side.
I would love to eat pancakes with you.
I know.
Cydney, I almost made pancakes for dinner last night.
That sounds like a great idea. Why didn't you?
I got really tired. Got back from a really big bike ride.
Yeah, you've been biking like a maniac.
Didn't.
Wait, did you have
biking
that
like
dinner
a-
party?
That's tonight.
That's tonight? Oh, that's exciting. That's something to get excited about.
What's the dinner party?
I was invited to a birthday dinner party of super badass woman who runs a photographer and artist agency, and she's super rad.
Cool.
I'm really excited to just like be in her circle.
I think that's all we need. Sid, what do you think? Should we be done recording?
Domi, we'll start from the beginning, okay? Do you want me to call you Dominique
Okay.
the whole time?
If the whole thing has to be a conversation between friends.
I like to be formal with you, Miss Powers.
No.
No, absolutely not. So I'm here with...
Absolutely.
What's going on? What do I need to do? Do I need to sit more squared off? I'm too hunched? I don't look good enough
Work
for
on
you?
your posture.
Go eat your goddamn sloppy Joe.
you sound,
What?
which is amazing.
I don't sound good because I'm slouched?
You sound good.
Okay, so I'm here with Dominique Powers. She's a photographer, professionally working for D Factory as a digitech on major shoots, including Vogue shoots, major fashion icons, major photographers in the industry because she is a wizard. Had the privilege of going to school with her, of living with her, of really being the person that I discuss my career with no reservation, no comparison, no jealousy ever, just none of that catty lady things, just pure love and support. And I am so honored and grateful to have a friend as wonderful as Miss Dominique Powers. So we're gonna start from the beginning. Domi and I went to school together at the University of Vermont. We studied art education. We graduated the same year and had very similar ways of navigating this world. So I'll let Domi really take it from here. Domi, what made you go to UVM, University of Vermont?
Okay, well, first of all, that introduction, Sid, you're gonna make me cry. I love you so much.
I love you so much,
miss
too.
you
I
so
miss
much.
you, too.
This just brings so much
This
joy.
bi-coastal stuff is not good.
Before we even jump in, I'm going to say that I'm so grateful to be a part of this and have enjoyed so thoroughly watching this podcast take off and watching your art take off and going through this adventure of life with you and next to you and alongside you, and so excited to see where we
Yeah,
both
me
go.
too. I've been excited to see you. I'm always excited. You know, we get hyped. You're my hype lady. Whether it's like walking home from parties in Brooklyn being like, yeah, you're going to be the cool aunt to my kids.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh. Speaking of cool aunts, I went to UVM because of my sister. She was 3 years older than I was, so she was a senior when I was a freshman. That, along with it being in state, having a really excellent program, being somewhat close to home, like there was a lot of things going for it. Financially and the education that I would get from the school were the driving factors. Studied art education because of definitely a little bit because of the job security, knowing that, you know, when I graduated I would be set up to have the beginning of a, you know, great career. And even though I didn't, you know, I'm not currently working in education or working as a teacher, I still use the skills that I gained through that program every day.
Oh, definitely.
And it was definitely set me up for success in a way that I don't think any other major would
Just
have.
an overall path of empathy.
Absolutely.
You know, and we had a lot of... Our major was super small, so our class was 11 people?
If that, yeah.
It was if that, 10 or 11 people. So we all got to know each other really well and got to talk about, education opportunities and discrimination in education. And we took more art classes than an art major. I felt definitely very prepared to use art as a tool for facilitating joy.
Yes.
And facilitating like a process of self-discovery, which the art education majors of our year are way more serious artists than art majors.
Yeah.
Which is weird how that worked out.
Yeah. I think it just like forced us to use art in such a practical way, like through teaching art, you come to understand it so much more. Like I know that through student teaching, teaching a bunch of high schoolers about photography and art and pottery, it deepened my understanding and appreciation and joy in the making of it. Mm-hmm. Not everyone gets that opportunity.
And our outlook on the art making process not being comparative to each other, but as a tool to really share our work with the world, I think was a nice way to go through college we were never cutthroat with each other.
Right.
And in art programs, people are very competitive, and we did not have that competitive air. It really was this collaboration around a table.
Very supportive.
Eating snacks and being supportive.
Oh my God, so many snacks.
Yeah, we could not focus without like pretzels.
Very food motivated.
Me too. Yeah. So we graduated from UVM, emotional day. So then you went right to New York that year.
Yeah, pretty much. I moved down that summer, started working at a big photo studio down there called Pier 59 Studios. Worked some long, grueling hours and ended up moving up through the ranks there, switching departments, working in digital, which then set me up for the current position that I have now, which is working as a digital tech. So I ended up leaving Pier to work for the company that I currently work for called D Factory, and it's a digital capture and post-production company that is based in Paris. Our New York office has been around for about 7 years, and then after 2 years working with them, they moved me out to LA to open up our West Coast office.
She started the LA office. Just gonna throw that out. Told me on a subway. We were sitting down. I don't even know where we were going, but you're like, I think I'm moving to LA to start an office there. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's been an amazing opportunity. But so as a digital tech, I do on-set color editing and file management for photographers on photo shoots. So I am in charge of not only what the images look like, creating a color curve on set to bring it into the world of, the photographer's work or like the, mood that they have for the shoot. I'm also naming and organizing and processing and backing up. And while I'm doing all that, I'm checking focus and exposure and, composition and everything, and basically being a second pair of eyes for the photographer, making sure that the camera's on and working and, that everything technically is going smoothly. And then at the end of the day, I hand off hard drives with the entire shoot, any selects that they made on set, processed to JPEGs or TIFFs or, however the photographer or client or whatever, however they need the images. And then they have that, ready to go to retouching or to go however they need to handle the files after the shoot. It's all ready to go.
I think when most people look at an image, they don't realize how much color and behind the scenes work there actually is. So you're right in there as if you are a part of the shoot, like a major player in the shoot.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people even take into account that a digitech is such a pivotal position in a photo shoot.
It's a lot of responsibility, making sure that the images are there. But it's also, a lot of fun. I get to work with some really incredible photographers and creative directors and other assistants, the community that you build working on these shoots, because it's everyone coming together to create this set of images. It's really special, and you get to work with teams multiple times because you get in with photographers that you really like working with, and they like working with you, and you travel with them, and they just become family after that. So it's beyond just working in photography, it's working with the people that I really love. So it's
So
really
we're going
special.
to back it up just a little bit. What made you fall in love with images and photography in general?
My sister and I had, over our childhoods, we always had a little point and shoot camera, which, you know, super small grainy photos, but we would just run around with it in all of our adventures, and any hike that we went on, we would bring it along. And so I'm really grateful for that, because creating images was just a part of my life. And it wasn't until I was in high school that I touched my first DSLR, which is, you know, when you think of a more like professional camera, like that's what it is. It has lenses that you can take on and off, and makes more of like a click when you press the shutter, because there's a mirror that lifts to expose the sensor. It just like feels more pro. And seeing those images, it was like, oh, okay, so the camera that you use can affect what the images look like, and like, oh, well, there's different lenses. And then when I got my own first DSLR, that was when I started thinking of it more as an art form. I remember when I got my first prime lens, it was a 50 millimeter, which is like pretty standard, and it went down to 1.8 aperture, which just means that the lens could open up really wide to let in more light, and it meant that you could have a really shallow depth of field. I remember I just like ran around all night in my neighborhood taking these like long exposures.
Was this in Middlebury?
It was in Middlebury, yeah. So just like quaint little Middlebury, Vermont town, just like, you know, flowers in my garden at night. And it was just the first time that I was able to really explore or like push photography more technically, and it kind of opened up my mind to the different possibilities and ways that you can make image, you know, that it's not just like a snapshot of whatever you're doing on your hike. Like you can manipulate it with like how long of exposures you have, or like what your depth of field is, and that tells different stories.
Definitely.
So I guess that was when I realized that I could tell a story with an image.
So through your journey of working in different photography departments, did you understand how you best fit into making an image and what you wanted to do to facilitate the image?
I think we might need a slight rephrase.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't even know if what I said makes sense. So, so I can back it the fuck up. You worked with a lot of different equipment. You worked in an equipment room. You worked
Totally.
on,
Yeah.
you were just a lot of different roles in the photography scene. You did a
Absolutely.
lot of freelance photography. You did a lot of like photography for yourself. You did a lot of image manipulation. So you have a unique lens of really like understanding the photography world in a really broad spectrum that I think a lot of people don't have that well of, oh, I know every aspect of what makes this image an image, and you do.
And I value this knowledge because it's knowledge that I have, and you know, you can't help but feel that way. But I am very grateful for, you know, having had the experiences that I've had of like working more on the photo assistant side at points, and working a little bit in video, and now teching and retouching and thinking about bodies of work. And something that I've come to realize is that as much as I absolutely love photography and love image making, like as a career, I'm not trying to be a photographer, but I can't see myself working in any other field as passionately as I do. So it's been a real journey of kind of figuring out like, okay, well, I love this aspect, but like I don't love this aspect. Like I love working with people and I love being on set, but like I don't love having to like sit in an office and answer emails all day. So like, how do I, you know, merge the things that I do love and just keep pushing it and keep pushing forward, and you know, creating opportunities not only for myself, but building something that creates opportunities for others. And that's definitely been something that I've been thinking of recently, because when you get busy, it's very easy to focus on yourself, because you're so busy that it's like self-preservation. It's like, okay, well, I'm on set 4 days this week, and then I also need to like go grocery shopping. You just get in like your world of like, this is my life, and like this is what I need to do to get through it, and like also do a good job for work, but it's still just insular in that it's just you. And one thing that this quarantine has brought is space and a little more time for reflection, which, you know, I'm hoping that everyone in this country is doing. It's like, okay, well, I've built this thing myself, but how do I build it for others?
And you've been doing a lot more photojournalism projects as well. So just to like give a brief overview of your work, you really do work at the very top of the photo industry. You've worked on shoots for the New York Times, for Vogue, been on set with major celebrities, major talent, the biggest photographers in the world. So being at the very top of your game, it's not almost about crawling the ladder even more, but it's about like, okay, now that I see how this world really operates and works, like you've been working on a lot of work even regarding the protests and regarding, you know, things that aren't just ad campaigns for Vogue, but had some substance. So that is bound to like trigger something down. Yeah.
Definitely when you work on, it's a lot of fashion because, you know, they're trying to sell things. And when you need to sell stuff, you need to have images of it. And having worked in fashion for a while, like there's definitely more fulfilling shoots than others. But for the most part, it's, you know, yeah, you're making images to sell something, which isn't necessarily something that I agree with. Like fast fashion is awful. But it also provides me opportunities to work with really incredible people. So it's
Catch-22.
Tough crossroads where it's like, okay, well, I've built my career in this field where like I need to work on these shoots to buy groceries, but ultimately it's given me creative opportunities and provided me the skills that I can then take and use in ways that are more fulfilling and have a...
Can you tell me like a day in the life on one of your most favorite shoots? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, goodness.
Or maybe that desert shoot, you know, because that was fun and that was recent. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I just hear this on the phone. But I can always tell when you're having a good time.
So there's usually a dog on set. I mean, so like a standard photo shoot, you have a call time. So time when everyone shows up. And I'm always have gear in tow. So it's either like if we're on location, I have, it's called a seaport and a tripod. It's basically a mobile little office, put my laptop in it, and I can run around carrying it. If you go on Instagram and look at #DigitechDomi, you'll see so many photos of me and my seaport setup, and
it's so good. They're all so good.
Favorite thing. So that, or if I'm in studio, I'll have screens because they're bigger and nicer to look at. I show up with my gear and get it set up for the day, and then we have breakfast. Another great thing of working in this field is that I get fed, and you catch up with your homies who you haven't seen for a bit because after working in the industry for a while, like you end up working with the same people again and again. And my favorite part is you'll work with someone and have a great day with them, and then you don't see them for 2 months, but then you see them again and it's like no time has passed and you get to catch up, and everyone is just really lovely. And also, you know, very creatively inspired. So it's really amazing getting to know all the people in the industry, not only the photographers, but the other assistants. You know, everyone has a passion project and everyone is in it because they care.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you're on set, like, so after you set up your cart, what like comes next? Like, what do you do next?
Well, she has breakfast.
Oh, after. Well, I mean after breakfast.
I have my second cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And then, so at that point, say it's for a fashion something, say we're in studio, I get my stuff set up, photo assistants get the lights set up, talent goes into hair and makeup and styling, which usually takes a couple hours. Then
Is it cool to see the talent be transformed? I know that's like kind of a basic question.
I don't often see them like before.
Okay.
And I mean, it no.
Okay. That's fine.
I don't know.
I'm just curious also about like
'Cause-
how long a shoot day is typically for
Yeah.
you. Is it like, I know in film it can be like 10
Yeah,
or
yeah.
12 hours, sometimes pushing 14 hours. Are there ever days like that?
Yes. A standard day on set is 10 hours and sometimes 12. So like everyone works on a day rate and the standard is, whatever rate for 10 hours and then overtime after that. Unless they know it's going to be a long day, in which the, producer, whoever is supposed to give you a heads up that it'll be for a 12-hour day, and then, you adjust your rate for that, and then if it goes beyond. But yeah, like 10, 12 hours is pretty much guaranteed. The longest shoot I've been on was like 16 or 17.
It's wild.
But yeah, when you get into like travel shoots, then yes, or like especially around LA, we shoot up in Lancaster, which is the desert, or out towards Joshua Tree, or even like, I live on the east side and we're shooting in Malibu, and in normal times there's crazy traffic, so I'll be in my car for an hour and a half to get out there, and then have a 10-hour day, and then have a 2-hour drive back. So
That ain't no New York life. You could just bike home.
Oh man, yeah.
I have another question, if that's okay.
Absolutely, please.
I've got lots of questions.
I love it.
All right. What was I going to ask you? So in terms of hierarchy on a set, is the lead photographer acting as a director? Are there directors of the shoots? Like, I'm just curious, like, for that particularly long day. I was wondering. I'm just thinking about, like, does the director or the lead photographer just?
Ian re-asked that whole question.
I'm trying to work it out.
No, it's okay. I get what you're saying. It depends. It depends on the photographer and the type of shoot. So on like the more standard spectrum, the photographer shows up around when the assistants do, and they've had a conversation with the first assistant prior to the shoot to figure out, what the light they want. So then the first assistant knows what gear to order. So they get there and, the assistants set up the lights. The photographer is usually a part of that. We'll pre-light, so we'll, test it. Someone stands in, and so you can see like how the light shapes on the face. They're a part of that, and then they're, shooting, giving direction to the talent, communicating with the creative director or the client who, is looking at the images on my screen and is saying, like, yes, this is like in the direction that we're going, or like maybe we need to try this, or, the stylist is looking at the screen too and is like, oh, we need to change or adjust this. And they're shooting all day, depending on the shoot, anywhere from like 6 to like 30 looks, which would be like different shots or like wardrobe location changes. And that goes on the whole day. So they're very much involved. But then on the other like higher spectrum, maybe it's like a bigger ad job with a bigger photographer. There have been instances where the first assistant takes on a lot more responsibility, and it's usually a photographer who is busy enough to have a full-time first assistant. So this person only works with the photographer. They give much more direction through the pre-light, setting everything up, and then the photographer comes in once everything's like in a good place.
Cool. So the photographer is sort of the director as well. They're playing both roles.
Yes.
It's interesting to think about the contrast between like a film set and a photography set.
For sure.
I'm wondering on like a typical day, how many photos are shot? Like how many do you get? And then like how many end up getting actually used?
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Gesundheit.
Dankeschön.
On a standard day, there's anywhere from like 2,000 to 5,000 frames shot.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then
Who goes through those images after?
I think Domi.
Is that you? All you? Like, who chooses the photos?
either the photographer or the creative director or the client makes.
They look through all
selects.
2,000 photos or whatever?
Yeah.
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot of storage.
Yeah. Hard drives for days.
What's the how much space does 5,000 photos take up?
Well, it depends on the camera.
Yeah.
Domi, what's your passion project, personally?
We're still talking about nerd stuff.
I know, but I'm almost at my bandwidth with nerd stuff.
You know, Sid.
Okay, well, the standard shoot is anywhere from like 100 to 500 gigabytes. To answer that, and depends if I need to process TIFFs.
This could go on, this question.
But it's interesting. It's like that's stuff that people don't think about.
Yeah, people don't. Yeah,
Except Ian.
You live under hard drives.
Yeah. I literally have a box of 6 of them right here for my shoot next week. There's more hard drives than need to be in this house. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Passion project. I don't think I have one right now.
Who needs passion?
Well, that's not what I said.
Okay, pre-COVID, because passion projects in COVID is complicated, because I know nature has been a huge... this was a leading question because I've known past passion projects of yours. So I'm just teasing you. So your love of nature, the outdoors, whether that's... I know right now you're in a huge biking phase. Always really a huge biking phase, but more than ever before.
More than ever before.
But you're an avid skier.
Quarantine really kicked off my cycling obsession.
Yeah, now you're cycling like 80 miles a day. I can't even keep track. They're like, it's a ridiculous amount.
It's a lot. It's aggressive, but it's been therapy. So it's just been so good.
And you're an avid skier and rock climber. So I know you have done a lot of photo shoots with rock climbers. And at one point when we were living in Bushwick together, you wanted to be an outdoor photographer.
Yes. There's definitely been lots of... I care a lot about this. So how do I continue to care a lot about this and combine it with photography? Mm-hmm. And, that's been with, photographing in the outdoors and the sports that I do. And then coming to LA, I did a series of portraits with musicians here, which was amazing because I absolutely love music.
She also plays the ukulele and is learning guitar. She's a lady of a lot of skills.
How is guitar going?
It's good. I'm learning how to finger pick.
Oh, nice.
I know a couple of songs. I'm working on memorizing some so that I can, just
have them in the bank.
Whip out the guitar and exactly.
A little Fleetwood Mac here or there.
Yeah. Just really going for campfire vibes.
That's really all you need. I remember someone telling me once, I think it was like a tutor I had, like an English tutor. She was like, my husband just wants to be able to play guitar so he can go to like a house party and see a guitar and just play. That's really all you need to do if you can learn like 5 songs.
Amazing. It's great because that has also been a passion project during the last couple months is, learning that. It's really been a time for all the things that I've been wanting to do, finally actually doing. It's I've wanted to play guitar for years, but I was just too intimidated by bar chords, so I never did it. Until one day, I think I was just having a shitty day, and it's I'm gonna go get a guitar. So I did, and then the day was better.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So back to the adventure photography stuff. What kind of steered you away from pursuing that career?
I love images and love making images, but also working with images. And
did you not want to mix them because they were so?
There's just a switch that flips when it's my own images versus someone else's. And I'm able to just see a body of work so much more clearly when it isn't mine. That's the next passion project is I would love to work with photographers putting together books or working on their bodies of work and portfolios and helping tell a story through someone else's images. And, you know, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, definitely. So you definitely, I know this answer, so I'm just going to have you elaborate on it. You believe in collaboration amongst multiple artists. You like shooting musicians and artists. The creative sphere really is fueling.
There's a level of spontaneity that comes with working with other people that just can't be helped. And I think that is like that extra spark that's so special, is that like I have in my head, you know, a vision of where I see this image or this series or this project, whatever it is, going. But then when you bring in someone else who, like, it's either their work or, like, you know, working with musicians where, like, no, they don't create images, but like they have an idea of who they are and have an identity, and then bringing that enormous energy into this space, it can't help, you know, but against your own creative energy. And when they mix and come together, that's when you create something together that never could have been possible individually.
Absolutely. And I don't even think we were living together at this point, but when we went to Max B's and you took videos of everyone's creative process, and we were our episode that's releasing this Thursday is with Duke, and we were on the roof of Max B's apartment, and Duke was describing the very beginning of the We Are Love project back in 2016, and you were capturing and facilitating people's stories via video. And that memory is just so...
Yeah.
It was cold. It was like November when we were in T-shirts on this rooftop in New York.
And then I made you do yoga.
Yes,
it was great.
Yes. Lots of yoga films.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream collaborator? I can't even say the word. Do you have a dream collaborator that you wish to dreamly collaborate with?
Yeah.
My eye is so itchy. All right, go for it. I'm ready for it. This all has to be cut. I'm having a minor allergic reaction.
It's fine. You're just
Don't mind me. You've seen me way worse, so I'm not concerned.
Absolutely. I mean, you, Sid. Come on.
Oh, please. That does not count. We collaborate in life.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not. No, fake news. Your flattery is nice. I'm not going to lie.
No, but it's true, because it's, you know, the people that I love working with are the people that I really care about and understand me. And, you know, that's...
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, I know. God.
Sorry for being mean initially.
Whatever, Sid. Fake news.
As a photographer or somebody that works so heavily with images, how has social media affected your relationship with images?
I mean, it can't help but do so, especially with Instagram being as big as it is now. I would say it's definitely like the social media app that is the most prevalent and relevant in everyone's everyday lives. And being image-based, you know, as a photographer and someone working in a visual field, it, you know, has almost become a portfolio for people.
Totally.
When I'm working with a new photographer, the first thing I do is go to their Instagram to get a feel of, you know, how does this person present themselves to the world, and how do they present their work? Because that's the thing when you're working with someone as a tech. Personally, like, I want to know what types of images they're making or that they want to be making, and that's beyond just, you know, what does the color look like, but, you know, like, what moments are they capturing that they are then sharing? Because then when you're actively working with them on a shoot, you know, understanding their process and where they're coming from allows you to, you know, help them better.
It's way beneficial to know their mood or their vibe or their process or what they're looking at.
But yeah, it social media is, it's such a beast, especially now when it has, you know, turned into a way that a lot of people are getting their news. It's not quite the, I guess, lighthearted place it used to be, but it's also a very important tool.
Yeah.
I've definitely gone in waves of how I deal with social media, where, you know, sometimes I just put so much pressure on myself to, like, use it as a portfolio that, I won't post something unless I'm like, this is good and it, relates to the last image, and, really curating it. And, I'll curate it for a week or two, and then I get stressed, or I'm not actively creating work, so I don't have anything new to share. And so then I don't.
I think that demand for artists is exhausting.
It's, yeah.
You have to, it's not this constant, we're not necessarily designers or marketing professionals or PR people. It comes in, right. You need to feel inspired. You need to have a well of experience to draw from. You need to create, and then you're ready to show. And that doesn't happen at the speed that social media demands. And I think a lot of the times that creates a lot of stress. I mean, as a painter, Instagram's also the medium. And without your photos, I couldn't post my work. Domi actually shot my original series that got me a residency because of her images. She came to my house in Jersey.
It was my pleasure.
Where do you think the industry of photography is trending towards?
That is a great question. One that if I really knew the answer to, I'm sure one day I'd be very successful. I mean, hopefully it'll be a more, inclusive place that gives artists of all ages and backgrounds a platform to create meaningful work that inspires themselves and others. Whether that is fashion or photojournalism or, photography purely as an art form. Like, there's just so much potential. We're photographers, like the old school, quote unquote, photographers who worked a certain photographer. Like, it's a very different feeling on set. You wear all black and you're always at attention, and, you have to work hard not only to help create this image, but also to kind of prove yourself. And especially as a woman in the industry, there's definitely more female techs ratio-wise. But I would say like 93% of the photo assistants I work with are dudes. Maybe like 75% of the photographers I work with are guys. And there have been so many instances where I'm the only woman on set. Less so now, because I feel like I've definitely come into my own, but especially at the beginning, yeah, you feel like you have to prove something.
Wow, there's an animal behind you in this tree.
Oh, probably. Dude, the squirrels have been out of control.
Yeah, no, that's a squirrel.
Definitely a squirrel.
It is. They're like yelling at each other from across the yard and throwing walnuts on the ceiling.
It's that time of the season.
It's a walnut tree out there, and they just whack.
Post-COVID, do you think that how shoots had happened are going to change?
I hope so.
Well, they already kind of have with the talent taking iPhone.
Oh, shoots. So it is July 16th, and I've been back on set pretty consistently since May 20th.
That's pretty awesome.
2 months.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I have work so that I can buy groceries, because as we've mentioned, very food motivated, and pay for new bike stuff, because it's like groceries and bike stuff is, I'm not going out, I'm not doing anything else. Like, that's it. Very grateful to be working, but it's also very stressful because we're working in the middle of a global pandemic. Yes, there are new precautions in place. Everyone's wearing face masks. We, social distance to the best of the ability, which is always
complicated.
Yes, because photo shoots are such a collaborative effort. Everyone from the photo team, hair, makeup, styling, like everyone's coming together to create this thing. It's very, physical. You're looking at images, you're discussing, you're collaborating, and it's so ingrained in everyone to be close. So, like, distancing has definitely been the thing that could always be better. But what it's also led to is, there's less clients on set, there's less like assistants, so the teams are a lot smaller. Instead of, photo shoots, especially if there's a video team as well, it's anywhere from like 20 to 60 people coming together. And now it's, like 10, 15 at the very max, if you're outside and people are working in different areas. So it's a lot smaller teams and less client on sets, which then means that I'm either streaming the session, so they're seeing the photos, or, sharing images after they've been taken. So communication becomes so key because not everyone is there. And what I hope that this leads towards after, I'm not even trying to use the phrase after COVID, because
I don't know if there's ever going to be an after.
Right. It's a continuous, ever evolving global situation, but I hope that it puts more emphasis on quality. I already have seen brands working with photographers that they know and trust, and
Sorry. There's a dog here.
it's okay. Photographers are choosing to work with teams that they know and trust because they're good. So you get a tighter team of better people. Downside of that is that there's less opportunities for more up-and-coming people because, when you can't have more people on set, you can't bring on an intern or bring on a third assistant who would then be able to
Work their way up.
learn. So that it will absolutely be a downfall of the current situation, is that there's less access. And I think that'll be the biggest challenge, is how do you still provide opportunities for people who are learning, and how do you lift up those who wouldn't otherwise have access to that education? Because the thing with the photo industry is that there's no entry exam. Yes, I studied photography, but I never, had to
Take a bar exam.
score. Yeah. It's, you start working on set and you learn, and ultimately it's, do you know your shit? Can you communicate? And do I want to spend 10 to 14 hours a day with you?
Yeah.
It's the same exact prerequisite for being on a film set.
Absolutely.
I got an internship once. It was a small place, and there was 2 other people that were trying to get the position. I ended up getting it because I seemed like I could spend 5 days a week, 8 hours a day in a studio space with the audio mixers. It's that was, and I didn't know anything. So they took me, who's less qualified, and gave me the position just because I seemed like I could hang, which is, it's actually really interesting.
That is really interesting.
It's really one of the more important things for long form collaborative
I
work.
also feel like collaboration, you have to create a safe environment. Domi, when you first started taking pictures of me just because you always had a camera, how uncomfortable was I? I don't love people taking photos of me. I don't really identify. I very much am an internal person, and I don't do my hair or my makeup. I wear sweats a lot. I wear yoga clothes a lot. So I never really put this emphasis on this exterior that I was seeing images and associating with. And I think you creating this super safe place made me think of a camera differently, made me think of recording moments differently. And definitely collaboration is really about, do I feel safe? And I think right now in this climate, we all have to step back and make it safe for more people, and not be can you hang, but can this be a fun, safe, inclusive, big conversation with a lot of different backgrounds? And the commonality that brings us together is a love of making an image, is a love of painting, is the love of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Since this podcast is made for emerging artists of all ages, of all mediums, whether you're a musician or a painter, I just want to touch on how important it is to people to have other people in their corner when you're coming up. Even when we left Vermont and we were both in New York together, and we were both getting opportunities that, our peers maybe weren't getting. And I just want to talk about the confrontation with jealousy, with being a woman, of getting opportunities that are pivotal in that early moment of your career, and what it means to have a friend that's not going to judge you, that understands what it means to be an artist, that understands the instability of the life that you choose to go into. The support, Domi, I was living with my parents. My dog had just died. I was in a place where I really needed an escape. Like, you saw me and you said, I don't care. I want to live with you at some point in our lives. I know you don't have money. I know you're trying to accomplish something. I'm going to make it possible. The amount of gratitude I have for that time is just unbelievable. But to have a friend that is an artist that understands what you're going through and is not competing with you, especially as a female. You're all figuring it out and everyone's having this anxiety post-graduation about a job, period. And none of that infiltrated our friendship. And I want to talk about how do you support emerging artists?
Oh, my heart. So full. It's always so full when I talk to you. Oh. I mean, yeah, our friendship is, always will be, but especially at that time, very pivotal in that I was really proud of the accomplishes. I was really proud. I was really proud of everything that I was accomplishing with my career, and I was working and hustling, and it felt good. And to be able to share that with someone, be like, yeah, I'm kicking ass, and like not feel bad about that.
Because it is the double-edged sword of when you are kicking ass and you're getting momentum and you're, working more jobs that are something that's aligned with what you want to do, there are people that just want to know how you got there and don't care about the person behind it.
Yeah. And there's definitely a line between, like being proud of your successes and then turning a little, egocentric. There's so much emphasis on being humble, which is good, but it's like not so much to the point that you don't acknowledge your own successes. And I think that was something at the time that I was struggling with, was that I was starting to work on these bigger shoots with these bigger photographers, and I was just so excited about it, but name dropping is one of my pet peeves. So like, I didn't know how to share that, and just being able to, meet up for our weekly lunches in that park in
Soho. Yeah.
What, Spring and Lafayette?
What is that park called?
I don't know.
I don't know if it even has a name. It has to.
It must.
It's New York. It's like an area that's green.
So in Lafayette, just south of Spring. Give
me the name of that park.
So I guess my advice to emerging artists is, to find your person, and they don't need to, be in the same field. They just need to support you.
And also understand like this unique set of problems that come that no one ever talks about.
Yeah.
Because it's just supposed to be this glamorous life of, you're finally getting the gigs that you want to get, or you're finally doing the things that you want to get. But then as everything, there's this evolution and this new set of expectations that you put on yourself. And to really, reflect on those expectations, what's self-induced, what's not. It really does help. It helps just talking it out with somebody. And it's so easy to self-isolate. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's so exciting when you get things that you want. Like, it was so exciting when you told me you were opening up the LA office.
I mean, yeah, it asked me even 5 years ago that I, never could have foreseen this. Before I lived in New York, I never thought I would live there. And then I lived in New York and I loved it. And then I had never even thought of LA. And then, just saying yes to opportunities leads to so much.
It leads to knowing when you should say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Domi. I really am. It's just amazing to see where you grow and how passionate you are when that moment of clarity of, yes, this is where I need to be, and I need to pivot, and I need to do it mindfully, and I need to do it without stepping on anyone, and I need to do it for myself. It's so admirable, and you're so organized. Domi's like one of the only people I know that can read a bus schedule and follow the bus system in Brooklyn. All right, well, do you have anything else?
I've got some stuff.
Excellent.
I'm just curious who, like, some of your favorite artists or people who have influenced you are.
These are the questions that I'm really bad at on the spot.
It's okay. Who did you study in, like, Anthony Gruden's class? Who did you choose to, like, write about in art history?
The only Gruden class I took was all about Warhol.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh man, I just like want it to be a good answer and reflective of like how I really feel.
You and I think feel the same way. Honestly, it's like I don't think I have any particular influences.
I would say I'm the most influenced by the people around me. I definitely pick up little sayings that the people that I hang out with do. But creatively, I definitely feed off of my friends' energy. And I think that's why our friendship blossomed so much, was that you were also so just passionate, and, we could always have a conversation about art, and there was always something new that we were thinking about. Just having those open conversations encouraged me to just be actively thinking about the type of work that I am making and the type of work that I want to make. Which, circling around, comes back to why it's so important to have people that you can talk to about work and art, if that's, the direction that you want to go in. Whether or not you're actively talking about a passion project that you're working on, just having that line of communication open and thinking about different art practices leads to, new pathways opening up. I'm working on a series that I'm really passionate about, but maybe whatever I'm doing, working on other people's work, is then informing decisions that I'm going to make in 1 to 10 years when, I do make a body of work that then, reflects back on what I'm doing at this point. It's okay if, that I don't have a passion project right now. Like, that's okay, because what I am doing will one day influence what I do. And as long as I'm passionate and enthusiastic now and, still pushing it, it's believing in what you're doing. And it's like, I care a lot. That's a, I guess, personality trait about myself, is that I care a lot. I care a lot about the people in my life. But like, if I don't care about something, like, I'm not gonna do it. So like, if I'm working on something or like in a career path, like, I'm doing it because I really want to be.
I think that's a great ending spot.
I agree. And I think I agree with you for sure.
That was great.
Sid, I must really care about this podcast.
You do.
Because I work it like there's nothing else.
This is true.
Hey. What's the timeline on this?
Probably like a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, like 3 weeks maybe. Kara's our timeline person. We're very the type B. You know me. Literally.
We do not schedule.
I don't schedule. Well, you knew even how I live. Like, Domi's like on it. She like wakes up, has coffee, reads a book. I'm like
goes for a cycle.
Yeah, I'm like in bed, sleeping in a twin bed with like Lion King sheets. My clothes are all over the floor. I wake up at like 10. I'm like, and you're like, what's wrong?
Oh, I actually just thought of something that I'd love to ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm super busy, like working on like a production, or even on production, or even like editing, I fall into some really bad production habits. Like I'll wake up, especially if I'm alone. Like I'll wake up, I won't brush my teeth, I'll start editing, I won't eat anything. I was wondering if you have like any bad production habits.
Well, I always start my day with a cup of coffee, so that, like, no matter what, there have been a couple times, especially during quarantine, when I've been working on retouching projects and like due to timelines, whatever, I'm like up and at it. Like one day I started at like 6:30 a.m. because I had just like gotten the selects overnight and was like, all right, let's go. And it was images of the protests, so it was news, so it kind of had to be done fast. But even then, it was like, all right, I got my cup of coffee, still in my pajamas until noon. When I'm on set, though, it's like you can't really help but have your shit together because you need to, like, see people and
look presentable.
Yeah.
Look presentable.
I definitely have to brush my teeth on those days.
There are definitely mornings where I haven't brushed my teeth, 100%.
I think COVID is, like, inducing bad habits, too. You know, like...
But also making some good habits.
Yeah, definitely. There's trades off.
Trades off.
Tradesies off.
Mm-hmm. There's trades off.
There's trade-offs.
Yeah, Domi, you really don't have many bad habits. You don't like let yourself fall into like
I definitely prioritize
the underbelly.
like feeling like a human being. So even if I'm sitting all day, I'll, you know, when I get up to get water, I'll do lunges into the kitchen and like
She's a freak.
I can't help it.
Like she's a freak. Like you've definitely like helped restructure what's normal human practices. Like when I lived with you, I was just like, all right, I have to get my life a little more together.
I mean, I get it. If I there were some days where I was on set and I haven't worked out, and I just have all my sound bag on me, and I'll just do a couple of squats and like
Dude, yeah.
overhead press the boom.
Yeah. Yes. I would say the toughest thing about being back was that my feet hurt
Oh, you gotta get Dansko clogs.
so
Shout out Dansko clogs.
much.
Seriously, black Dansko clogs.
Sneaker gal.
I know you're a sneaker. I know. Yeah, or the Timbs.
Because I'm running around. Okay, so fashion, Domi's on-set fashion. I still usually wear all black unless I'm in the desert, in which I wear all white. I only wear carpenter pants on set. I need to have the side pockets. I have my phone in the right and my Leatherman and a Sharpie in the left.
That sounds solid.
Real nerd status. I have a pair of custom Nikes with my last name on the back, and I love them.
You do?
Yeah, they're all black, and on the left it says POW, and on the right it says ERS, because you can only have 3 letters.
Word.
So it worked out. So it has Powers on the back of my shoes.
Yeah, when Domi student taught, they had to call her Miss Powers.
That's pretty sick.
I just want to make that really known to everyone. Domi, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Dominique Powers. You can find my website, www.dominiquepowers. And you can find me on my email. If you want to start a conversation, it is hello@dominiquepowers.com.
Yes.
It's really just my name.
Yeah. Perfect.
yeah.
Is it cool if maybe photographers that want to learn more reach out to you?
I would absolutely love that. You know, all about starting a conversation.
Amazing. All right. Well, I love you. I miss you. This Zoom is...
I love you too.
It's great, and it's sad. It's always bittersweet because I'm like, oh, where's our physical contact?
Yeah. Where's our hug? Okay, well, I'm hugging you from
Yes.
LA.
Oh, I'm hugging you back. Also, Alex's wedding was a year ago.
What a time. For the listeners, I photographed Cydney's amazing older sister's wedding, and they had colorful smoke bombs running into the sunset, and it was one of the more memorable experices.
It was the best photos of a wedding in the entire history of weddings.
Seems like a 24-hour day. I hope you paid her
It was
overtime.
amazing.
Bye.